Hello, hello. We are live.
What's up? Did you go low there?
We are live. We're
Voice for
good.
radio.
Have a face for radio.
Wasn't saying that.
Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining. We'll give people another minute or two and then we'll get started. I like that you have the Pia bot on your shirt, Sean. He's peeking up at us.
It's my own design.
I love it.
You made it yourself, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so got this made. It's got the PR on the sleeve.
Whoa.
Hello. Hello, Tim.
Tim.
Welcome from Evolve. I am also at Evolve, so if anyone's joining in from Evolve, please say hi. We'll get you a drink at the open bar. Yeah, let's see more confetti. I love to see it pop up. Come on, bring on the confetti.
Open up the crowd. Let's go, peeps. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there it is.
It's happening.
Active. Nice. Cool. Well, I will go ahead and get us kicked off here. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our office hours over gamification and technician motivation. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that's become increasingly important for MSPs looking to get the most out of their investment in PIA. So, how to motivate your service desk technicians and reinforce the right behaviors through gamification. As always, I'm Alyssa Castro and I'll be moderating today's session. And joining me today are three experts who live and breathe technician adoption and service desk success. We've got Matt Frederick, Partner Success Manager, who brings a strong inside sales background and now serves as a Partner Success Manager here at PIA, helping MSPs to turn automation into real operational wins. Sean Oosthuizen, product specialist. He's gone from a partner to one of our product specialists and spent over 2 years in the PIA ecosystem and eventually decided the best way to learn more about PIA was to join the team behind it. So we're really happy that he's here. He's actually joined one of our previous office hours as the guest partner. So this is pretty cool.
Full circle.
Um, yeah, full circle. And then Donald MacArthur, Service Manager from Real IT Solutions. Thank you so much for being our guest host today. He has experience in creating gamification. So a lot of these ideas actually came from him himself. So he's really built that ecosphere for us here at PIA and has a lot to share today. All right. So, what we'll cover in the next hour, we'll talk through how gamification drives PIA automation adoption and usage within your service desk and even account management teams. What adoption achievement and some tracking mechanisms could look like for your business, and then what real incentives could potentially look like for you and your team. A couple of housekeeping items. We're going to run 60 minutes today with time for open discussion and general Q&A at the end. You can use the chat for comments and reactions. I love the reactions and the Q&A section for any questions that you may have. In the chat, you can post publicly or privately at any time that you'd like, and I'll be ensuring that we are hitting each question you have at the appropriate time. At the end, please stay tuned for the short post-session survey. As I always say, this feedback shapes future office hours and quite literally has already. All right. Before we dive in, I would like to kick things off with a quick poll to get a sense of the room. I want to know what motivates your technicians the most that you know of whenever it comes to adopting automation tools like PIA? Your options are going to be public recognition, leaderboards, shout outs, type stuff, tangible rewards, swag, incentives, internal points, maybe crew bucks if you're into that, clear progression paths, competition among peers, or insights showing their impact. So I see those coming in. Thank you very much. All right. So while you continue to vote, I'll get the conversation rolling. We'll start with addressing why we are even talking about this topic. So, what triggered the topic of gamification of PIA within real IT solutions? Donald.
Well, we use PA a lot for triage, and it was great. And honestly, it was like even if we just use it for that, it'd been great. It'd be good. But when we actually came to the techs using it, no, the only person that was using it was me. Um, so it was like, how do we get people to actually use it, especially for like onboarding and offboarding, and people want to use it without me having to do the gentle nudges. So that's the thing, and then that was really the main thing is how do we make them use it?
And I think we hear that throughout each partners, especially in the onboarding phase. How are they going to push it into their technician? So we're going to talk all about that today. Thank you, Donald. So I want to start with or continue on with Sean. Where do you typically see technicians struggle most when adopting automation tools?
Well, I would say the usual struggle is not with the tech itself, but with the confidence, the trust, the mindset. See, common challenges include fear of losing control or relevance, trying to automate too much too quickly, and the difficulty translating real world process into logical workflows. When automation lacks visibility or feedback, it feels like a black box. It slows the adoption, and this is where gamification can help break the automation into achievable steps, rewarding progress, uh, the reframing of automation as a skill building journey rather than just a threat.
Yeah, so how can then gamification, this topic today, help remove some of those barriers, Matt?
Yeah, good question. So to answer that, I'm going to kind of break it out into tiers here. But first, let's rewind. Adoption, in my opinion, it usually hinges on two beliefs. One of them being, hey, this helps me, and this is easy to use. So if the gamification is in value is obvious, you get those wins and then the simple steps that come along with it, those clear rules, people will stop seeing PIA as extra work. So these texts, are typically, I mean, sometimes it's maybe forced onto them. So having it as extra work can be a little bit more strenuous. So gamification typically helps create a faster time to first win, right? So getting those first, that low-hanging fruit done out of the way first. So when a tech gets a first win early, they're more likely to keep the tool long enough for it to become a habit, right? So instead of reverting back to the more manual process without PIA, you want it to make a good solid habit, whether it's a week or a month down the line. So it also can help turn these vague changes into next clear actions, right? Using small goals at first, some of these baby steps, and then eventually getting these feedback in portion, right? Maybe a day or so at a time, or a week or so at a time. So typically from a psychological standpoint, people are going to be adopting faster when they know exactly what good usage looks like and they can see progress. So, we'll touch on a little bit more of that too, but the social proof is another one I like to call out. Hey, we're all doing it, especially as a team. But you'd also additionally want to avoid shame. especially seeing some of those harsh comparisons. If you have a leaderboard, for example, the bottom quadrant, bottom quarter, typically can make people disengage, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, and you touched on which gamification mechanics you see work in some of your partners in that, Matt. And I'd like to hear from Donald and Sean, like points, badges, or leaderboards. What's been the most effective from your experience for boosting engagement?
Uh, I can talk to mine. We
Yeah.
have Crewhoo for everything. So I don't know if people use Crewhoo, like they get a good survey, they get rewarded for that. And it turns out that that's just a lot of noise when it comes to adopting new tools. So how I came up with mine is I was at some leadership seminar and they talked about gamification. And I was at a toy store with my son and he saw these little Star Wars toys, like, oh, Dad, you'd love this. And I'm like, oh, my team loves Star Wars too. And it just kind of like clicked, like, oh man, my team loves toys. Like, what can I do here? So then I like set up like certificates using Star Wars as my base because my whole team loves it. So I found out that after I kind of had the meeting with them, I said, hey, here's what I'm going to try and do. Maybe this is stupid, but what do you think? The certificates, I use with AI, so they're kind of hesitant at first. They were like nitpicking, hey, there's a lot, not lightsabers not right, or Han Solo's guns not right. But when I showed them, hey, I'm going to get you this toy here too, and I showed it to them, they were like, I'm in. How can I do it? And next thing I know, account managers coming to me, how do I get in on this? And then I got a senior engineer saying, I don't do a lot of level one tickets that Pia is doing. How do I get in on this? Suddenly the whole team. I've got like a dispatch who takes calls. She's like, can I do password reset so that I can get Pia credit? I'm like, yeah, you can.
That's pretty cool. I love that.
Yeah,
And
so
Sean, how about you as a user?
I would say the most effective gamification mechanics are those aligned to real automation behaviors. Your points are great for encouraging participation and momentum. Badges reinforce skill identity and recognition. And the leaderboard can drive short-term energy when used carefully. However, the most powerful mechanic is progression, as it supports long-term engagement by showing technicians a clear growth path. When combined thoughtfully, these mechanics encourage consistent, meaningful interactions rather than just a once-off engagement.
Yeah, I think William in the chat made mention of that, or someone did, Jason, complaining about not being able to learn now that they are utilizing PIA, and I think you reframed that in a really nice way, Sean.
No, all you have to do is you just have to dig your heels in. Like us as product specialists, we are here to assist in any way we can. Like any training, any assistance with custom automations, or just like the setup, reach out to us. We're here. We basically 24/7. So whichever time frame works for you guys, reach out to us.
So let's talk a bit about that competition aspect that we touched on a second ago. So, how can MSP leaders introduce gamification in a way that feels motivating rather than forced or competitive in the wrong way? Matt and Donald, y'all both made a nod to this earlier, so I'd like to hear from y'all too on that.
Yeah, really good question. I think of two things I'd like to touch on, but the first one is you want to make sure that you're anchoring the game in autonomy, competence, and relatedness, and not necessarily and kind of have control off on the side, right? So when people feel like they have choice, the autonomy portion that I talked about there, they feel like they're getting better at a certain skill or a certain task, which is competence. So they feel like they're more related to the team or in general, or they feel more attached to the team or to PIA or whatever it might be. In turn, motivation is more likely to stick once that's enhanced, right? So the opposite end here is like what Sean touched on a little bit ago, where do this to earn points, right? It's going to be great. That feels a little bit controlling and certainly can backfire in certain situations. So you have to rely on context, certainly. Um, Another thing is I would co-design it with your techs. Maybe take 5 to 10 minutes and make participation seem like it's an opt-in versus not imposed onto your techs, right? So if the team is willing to help pick the rules and the conditions around the game, feels like their system, not management, came up with something here, and it has to be willy-nilly. Their new scoreboard, this will protect their autonomy, and they'll have skin in the game, as I would like to say. I don't know about you, Donald, but that's
I
what I
think you
have
hit
to
the
think.
I think you hit the nail on the head. And I think that's what helped me is I tried doing the competition with other things before, and it was an absolute failure. There's a couple of people that loved it, and there was 90% hated it and felt left out. So with this, it was me just saying, "Hey, I had this idea. What do y'all think about it?" And then, but a lot of the scores and how we do that came from them. Uh, it came from the account manager saying, well, "How can I get in?" Or the senior, can I get in? I want to be a part of this. So it was very organic in a lot of ways. So I didn't like try to rush it. Here's what we're doing. It was, what do
Mhm.
y'all think of this idea? And sometimes like as a leader, you want to say, here's what I'm doing. But it's okay to be vulnerable and saying, this is the idea. What do you guys think? Maybe you have other ideas that we can incorporate. So 100%, you have to know your team and what motivates them and come up with the idea together. Then you get the buy-in from everybody or almost everybody. You may always have that one person, but if you can get 95% on, I mean, you're golden.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I just kind of wanted to tail on the back of that. You want to make sure you're leading with progress and mastery, right? And not look for those short wins. You want to make sure your techs are able to see these personal bests, right? Having them visible to these milestones, these streaks, these quote unquote leveling up, right? We want to avoid the winner loser mentality, the that kind of energy, and you want to be able to create this I'm improving type of feel, right? So this progress, keeps the team engaged, and will reward mostly your most of your performers, I would say.
Yeah, and like we have like a daily huddle every day. So when they reach these milestones, I think it's important to give progress in person in front of everybody. So I give those certs in. So like, hey man, someone got this Pia Padawan. This is what they did. Like I appreciate it. But you guys can do this all well. It's more of a check it out group. We're coming together. We're going to celebrate this, but everybody's involved.
I like that. I like that. Making them just improve upon themselves, not necessarily because I'm up here, you're not type of mentality.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, let's make this tangible now. Let's talk about which metrics from the adoption report can we utilize that would best signal whether gamification is working for a team. Sean, let's look through the adoption report and see what we can use.
We can definitely do that. Let me bring this up.
I love looking through the adoption report.
Mm,
I know
David has a
all,
good
all the other. Sorry, go ahead.
David has a good question that we can touch base on here. How do you measure progress and how do you ensure that participation does not create a cut corners mentality? I think we'll get to this right in this segment, David.
Right, Matt, you can take over here. Yeah, just run us
Sure.
through the adoption report here.
Thank you, Sean. Yeah, appreciate it. So here we have a sample, a demo, it looks like, of the adoption report, which you can find on your tenant. it's just starting from the very top. As you can see, you got your total tickets. Let's see, the monitored tickets as well. The tickets that are PIA serviceable is the third one over. So that is from your unsupported clients. So that are basically tickets or, I'm sorry, clients that are not set up within PIA quite yet. The one to the right there, if you can hover over that, that is the PIA serviceable of the supported clients, so of clients that are set up within PIA. I like to talk about that supported clients ticket number typically when it does pop up, and that's a fun one to discuss. Below that, we have missed opportunities. I know other PSMs that are listening on here today would love to talk about this too. This is a big portion of what we talk about with our partners, and see where you can utilize PIA a little bit better, right? Where there's some missed tickets that weren't used by PIA, the automations that weren't used, they'll all show up here. I don't know, Sean, would you be able to click on that? Is there anything that would show up below there
Uh,
by
at the
chance?
m- at the moment, it wouldn't show anything. We
Okay,
don't have anything because this is a demo environment, so this is
got it.
purely just
Okay,
for.
okay. So yeah, it'll show missed opportunities between your clients that are set up within PIA and then also which clients are not quite set up yet in PIA in your PSA. So shows your clients in scope, your clients configured within PIA, and then also your activated agents that have been pushed out. PIA has been pushed out onto specific agents. Below that on the left side, you have the total package runs. And you also have the cancellations, tickets with multiple packages, etc. I'd like to highlight the one where it says PIA tickets there, if everyone can see that. That one's pretty important. That one is you're able to see where PIA has closed out. PIA has been used on tickets and closed on tickets. So really important to make sure you're looking through that on a daily or weekly basis, or so we say. And if you want to keep going down, Sean, I can show everyone the PIA Champions section, which is exciting. It looks like we have,
Real quick, Matt.
oh
Before
yeah,
we dig into the PIA champion section, thank you for outlining some of the cards within the top part of the adoption report. And I did want all of our partners that are on today to know we are currently in the break it stage of a new, much more detailed, robust adoption dashboard, pretty much. So, um, those are great call outs for this adoption report, and we're going to be able to dig deeper even more into the future state of this as well. So I would be remiss if I didn't give you all a little insight into that. So yeah, we're trying to break it right now to make sure that we've got all of our bases covered. Thank you, Matt. I'll let you
yeah,
continue with the champions.
yeah, appreciate it. So if we go down here, we skip down to Darth Vader in the PIA Champions section. On the right here, you can see who has been running. So this gives you great visibility into who of your techs has been running PIA, right? Whether it's L1s, L2s, L3s, whoever you've given the keys to the car to. So it shows you the number of package runs by Smeagol, Princess Leia, Spider-Man, Black Widow's on there too. So um, fun little thing that Sean, shout out Sean, was able to spin up here for this presentation. Just going from left to
Smeagol's
right,
killing it.
Smeagol
Go
is doing
Smeagol,
quite
man.
well.
I would think he'd be down at the bottom, but he's like, nah, he's going for a win.
Yeah, yeah. So just if we can zoom in on Darth Vader a little bit, and Sean, you're on there with him. Um, you can see some of the more important statistics of each individual, how they're using PIA, what they're using it for. So as you can see here, tickets using PIA, There's the PIA serviceable number of total PIA tickets that could be used. Out of scope or the total count of tickets closed outside of PIA. Looks like Darth Vader has manually stopped 15 PIA tickets for whatever reason. He has had 31 total PIA package runs. And then he has, of those 31 total classified PIA runs. So that means PIA has essentially suggested a package for Darth Vader to run by, blinking and the audible ping that you would hear within PIA. And Darth Vader rocked and rolled with what PIA suggested. Conversely, below that, on the unclassified runs, that's a total count of custom and searched automations. So that weren't suggested by PIA. So typically, if you see a high number like that, that's pretty much a good sign. It means that your PIA champion, like Darth Vader, would be, understanding PIA, what he needs or he or she needs to do to continue to make PIA a more viable tool in your tool set. I gotta say though, my favorite again are the missed opportunities, and the lower that those are, the better off you're going to be. So I just wanted to throw that little nugget in there.
And Donald, I know you've incorporated some of these stats into your regular reporting internally. Can you
Mhm.
walk us through within the adoption report what you're making the most out of here?
The most part was when if you scroll up a little bit, where it was total tickets, and I report in our scorecard stuff weekly. I look at that. What are the total tickets? What are the PS serviceable tickets? And what are the missed opportunities? Those are the biggest things that I look at is, total tickets, missed opportunities. That's the stuff that I record every week. Now, on a monthly basis, that's when I look at the PIA champions, and I start diving into recording that on an individual basis, where the weekly is just a whole team. I grade as a team, so that I just do my certs on a monthly basis because I want that habit to build. Matt talked about a habit, so I don't want it to be everybody's rushing for this first 4 weeks to get this toy or this certificate. It's over time. So you've got to build up to this. That's the biggest thing for me and then that I've noticed, because in the past, it might be it's really good right now, but then they get tired of it. And this way it's the constant reminder that, oh yeah, this month I need to hit this, or if I want this. But those are the big for me.
Perfect. Thank you. So, Donald, this is another question for you. What behaviors did you see change first when technicians know they're being recognized through things like your own PIA Champion leaderboard? You introduced gamification. You weren't receiving any much usage. You mentioned at the beginning of this call. So, what did you see change first?
Yeah, so yeah, at first the usage was just me and testing for the most part. But when I introduced this, I got it was kind of a few people at first. There was some excitement about, oh, that's cool, I want to do it. But then it was, oh, people actually started doing it, and it was the younger techs that were really into it. And I guess like excitement, I've heard excitement is contagious, and that's pretty much what it was in my office. Is the younger techs getting the certificates at first, and then the older techs were like, oh, I kind of want that, or I feel like I'm being left out, because they're super excited about it. They're talking about it. So then they're like, well, what can I do? And then everybody is getting that, because they got the certs on their cubicle, and sometimes we have clients come in, so the clients can be like, you got this AI face of a Jedi master. Like, well, how did you get that?
Yeah.
So there's more interaction. So it was really just the excitement is what I saw. And then on my weekly scorecards, uh, I got it set at 25%, which is really low for me. Like, let's start somewhere. And I would say last week I had 64% on my uh, total tickets to missed opportunities. It was by far my best week, and that's just over time. Um, because when I can say, hey, think about this. When they see it in action, like, hey, I can do a user onboarding on one screen while can do something that I actually really want to dive in at the same time. That's when they're like, okay. Or I can schedule. One of the big thing is so they can schedule an onboarding or an offboarding, and then they don't even have to worry about it. So I'm like, you're doing this manually because at first they're like, well, I can do it faster. And I'm like, yeah, but can you schedule it? Do you stay to your schedule like you need to? And sometimes like, probably could use some help there. And that was a big game changer for us.
Awesome. So mainly sounds like really seeing a difference in how your technicians will one excitement, but then also seeing a difference in how often, how many and how much your technicians were utilizing just really the embedded chatbot, the out of the box automations that you've configured.
Yeah, for the most part,
Yeah.
we use all of just the in the box stuff. We haven't we experimented a little bit, but um, for us, just the out of the box stuff works. Especially for us, the big ones that I see: onboarding, offboarding, being able to clean up a machine. Like we get those RMM tickets all the time, hard drives full, and my central service team can just click, I want to clean this up, and it'll look for that and almost do it. They could do like three at a time, and I'm not billing. We're not charging or we're not billing a customer for these RMM tickets. Is so they don't have to concentrate on that specific one. They can do multiple at a time, and PIA just allows them to do it without having to log into that computer. It just goes.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I think this is a good segue. We've talked a lot about how to encourage PIA adoption and usage via gamification so far and how to measure that and what that looks like. Let's segue into achievement pathways and tracking mechanisms. So let's first start off with addressing why recognition is often, in our own personal experiences, a more effective motivator rather than monetary rewards. Like I know you mentioned Crewwho. So Donald, I'd love to hear from you about your own personal experience, and then Matt, maybe of what you've seen throughout your partners.
Yeah, I mentioned we have Crewwho for everything. I mean,
Mhm.
honestly, it's so any sort of new thing that we add it got lost. And it's like, do I really want to add more ways to do your job where I'm paying you to do your job? Um, which is great, but it doesn't really move the needle, it seems. So for us, I talked about those certificates, and if you want, we can share that. But it was just saying, okay, here's how we do it, and then it was an organic thing, like you know, smart forms. Account managers can talk about people using smart forms and getting those submissions in because that's going to release time on the tech team on the help desk. So I guess is that answer your question? I hope.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And, from my partner base, and from what I've seen, it seems public recognition has great evidence for performing or improving some of the performance in text, right? So just from what I've seen, it makes people feel more valued and seen, which can increase effort over time, little by little, and it's not too transactional, right? Um, Conversely, some of these smaller monetary incentives sometimes can backfire in some of experiments that I've read about, because the money feels like too small, and it can kind of shift from doing this from a good job to doing it for pay. So an interesting little tidbit, but. One of my partners, interestingly enough, they have shifted from monetary rewards with PIA. And what they have right outside their building, it's very interesting. They have a basketball hoop, and the techs will go out there, on when it's nice out, and they'll play pig. and whoever wins the game of pig gets to have control or use Pia for that day or that specific week or whatever the time frame might be. Um, I wish I went back to him and told him instead of pig they should play Pia, right? That would be a
Oh,
natural.
I love that.
That's a missed opportunity right there. But I think that having some of these more creative ways and more fun ways to get active certainly can be a way to give more some of this control to your techs to help utilize Pia better, right? And using different ideas, coming up with different, using ChatGPT or other ways certainly can help.
I think you hit it on the head. Like you have to know your tech base. What's gonna really hit them? What do they want to see? Because like the monetary stuff, you see slide off for a while after a while because it's sort of desensitized. But if they have a goal, you're more likely to keep trying to hit a goal. So you might have to change your certs, but that's an easy thing to do where money just sort of like how do you add more money, keep doing that? Like how do you not get them desensitized? And this is I think is an easy way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. And on the topic of recognition and fun being a good, effective motivator, I do want to dig deeper into Sean's experience as well. You mentioned that it was really motivating for you as the admin, whenever you were a partner of PIA, to learn more. So, what are some things that you learned and increased your own knowledge on whenever you were in that seat that excited you and motivated you?
I mean, when I started with my MSP, they threw me into the deep end with Peer. It's like, well, this is what we're using. This is what it's used for. Um, I didn't know anything about it, so I do want to give a big shout out to my now colleagues, Tom and Joel, and they upskilled me and gave me all the knowledge I needed to build Peer, do all the configurations, build quite custom stuff. And it felt good because it was just something that the other guys would use,
Hmm.
made their lives easier. We had a spreadsheet of custom stuff that they would like to see get built, to reduce time on tickets so they can focus on the bigger things. And it was just nice to know that the guys appreciate what I did. I built all these custom automations. They used it. Like in the adoption report, you could see what they were using, what they were doing with it, and it was nice. I was the only admin, so it was quite daunting at first. But yeah, like I said, Tom, Joel, those guys helped me to grow into the product specialist that I am now. And it was just nice to deal with it on the MSP side to reduce time on tickets and make life a little easier for everyone.
I love that. Thank you for sharing, Sean.
I love that too. I just want to say one quick thing. One of the things that I like working with you guys on, and I work with you some, Alyssa, is when I talk with you guys, even like prepping for this, every one of you are really passionate about what you do and you care about your company and your product. And it's just really fun and exciting to work with you guys because you actually care and it's not fake. So I'm sorry, I don't want to get off that. It's just I heard Sean, I think that's awesome.
And see, I learned this from Tom. He always says passion for the product.
I love that. Thanks, guys. That was really cute. I want to talk through now for usage. What are some usage milestone tiers that you have set up? I know that can be anything, but I want to dig into what you have set up for your certificates, Donald, because I think those are great benchmarks to have and think about, and the way that you structured them was not in a way that I had thought about before, and I really liked it. So if you want to talk through that, love to hear.
Would it be easier to talk about or just share those certificates on the screen?
Let's share. Let's
All
see.
right, well, let's see if I can figure out how to do this. Um, it'd be way easier than I think it's going to be this one. There we go. Can you let me know if you can see that?
Uh, I was
You
going
see
to
that?
share.
Let's see.
Oh,
Let's see what Donald has.
Uh,
There you go.
all right, cool.
Got
So
it.
I got the Pia paddle one here, which remember entry level type stuff. So it's like a one, and this is all done on 1 month. I just wanted to see usage. So I've got 15 automations, our successful deployments, our training 15 clients on smart forms, uh, our 50 client smart form submissions, all within a month. Um, and then I got a Pia Jedi Knight, and you can kind of see it just increases each time. Uh, kind of go through these. I don't, well, but you can kind of see Jedi Master, you're starting to do way more, 250 submissions. Uh, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, you're on the count. Just you're on the council of PM Jedi Masters, and a lot of times with this one, I'll change their face so it looks like they're a Jedi. I'll customize it to them, which they think is kind of funny. Uh,
I love that.
I use a Nano Banana there, does the best job. Just a hint on that. And I actually even got bonus certificates because it went over well. We have one client that has a seasonal type thing. So they may have 50 users added at one time or 100 users needing to go off at one time. So that's when I've got my Order 66 survivor. Like you use PIA, you survived it. Way to go. It's about being under pressure and using PIA. Because sometimes when you're under pressure, you lose that habit. So I'm like, well, let's have something specifically for this. And anybody can get it. And then I got a specific Trailblazer award for somebody who, is sort of going out of their way and really like exciting the team. Then I got an account manager one specifically because she's like, I like Leia. I want something. I want mine to have Leia, and she needs a lightsaber. I know, like we talked about, some people said Leia doesn't have a lightsaber. I'm like, Leia kills it. If she wants to have a lightsaber, what's stopping her? Uh, and that's pretty much what I have. But hopefully, does that help? And I'll let you take over screen uh, sharing there. I forget how to do that. So hopefully, you can just take it over.
I I just want to mention here, I really, really liked how you got your account managers involved. That was not something I had heard previously with other partners. And since our very first conversation where you brought this up, Donald, I've been preaching that because I think it's a missed opportunity to not be looping in account managers for spreading the word of smart forms and getting them to be autonomous with their ticket automation.
And I can't take credit for that. They came to me, and I was like, "Of course you can."
All right, you may need to click stop share somewhere on your screen, I'm sure.
Um,
And Darko said to Donald, Order 66 Survivor is a tricky one. Also, Leia with the lightsaber is canon. She becomes a Jedi Master later on in life, so it's very, very valid. Love it. All right. I would like to actually dig a bit deeper into account management. I guess also timely that we have Leia up there. For account management, how can we dig deeper into them? What does this actually mean to get your account managers realistically certified as Princess Leia? Could we review that one more time?
so it's all about smart form adoption for us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how many clients are they talking to smart forms about? How many are they going to train and setting that up? Some clients need to be walked through that, where others an email works. So some of that that's when some of that just depends on what they're actually doing, because sending an email doesn't take a lot of time, but walking somebody through it does. So they might get more credit for that. But for them, it's all about smart forms, telling the customer about it, and taking the burden off our help desk.
Love it. Cool. All right, let me
I
see.
don't-
It might be at the top of your screen somewhere. Oh,
It
just
it I would, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not.
oh, that is okay. I am curious from Sean, your side. This is something we talked about before. Um, can you talk us through how does gamification support ongoing engagement and excitement rather than one-time training? And what are some of the metrics that us as or most of y'all as management that we can benefit from this?
I think gamification sustains the engagement by turning automation into continuous improvement rather than a single training event. It provides ongoing feedback, visible progress, and a clear incentive to return and refine workflows over time. Uh, this impact can be measured through the metrics such as the package reuse rates, automations runs, the frequency over time, reduced manual intervention, faster resolution times, and then a broader contribution participation. These indicators will show whether automation is becoming embedded in the daily operations, and it will just increase the flow on using the automations, building the custom stuff to use as well, and just reducing time on tickets for the technicians so they can work on bigger projects.
I love that. I love the emphasis on having this be a long-term solution too.
Correct.
Thank you. Oh, cool. Well, that's a lot of about achievement pathways and tracking mechanisms. Went through the adoption report, saw how we can track this and how we can recognize it with some of those certifications. So thank you for sharing that, Donald. And we do have, because of Donald's wonderful blessing, we do have a PIA branded certification program as well, that we can play around and give to y'all if y'all are curious or wanting to brand something like this for yourself. I'm more than happy to have that conversation. So thank you, Donald, for that permission, and shout out to Disney. Okay, so let's talk through some incentive frameworks. And we'll address that poll that we did at the beginning of this session. Thank you for choosing that. It looks like most people chose tangible rewards, so that's pretty in line with everything we've talked about. So, what types of incentives have you seen create the biggest lift in technician engagement? Swag, points, competition, recognition, or something else? I think we pretty much covered that, but I want to hear more about some of the actual tangible prizes that you have, Donald. I wasn't sure if maybe you had something that you could show us. Uh,
Yeah, I got this. I got the start here of these are what I talked about, the fan drop sets.
yeah.
So
Nice.
like, I think this was probably my favorite one. We got the high ground. You don't know my power. Let's go. Got Anakin there. I will say Matt had a great idea that I told him I was going to steal, and that is Star Wars Legos. 100% stealing that.
All you.
It was like you said it, and I'm like, oh my God, everybody has Legos on their desk, and I did not think about it. I'm not
Yes.
a Lego guy, but you said it, and it's just like, of
Yep.
course we're gonna use Legos.
I know at PIA giveaways at events that we attend, we have in the past had included a lot of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings Legos and everything. So top of mind, I guess. But I've always
It,
been a Lego tinkerer, so it kind of makes sense from my side.
you
Yeah.
can see like behind me, I'm a big nerd. I love comics, so I actually have a lightsaber. I was thinking
There you
about
go.
bringing that in to display it, and then be like, maybe I can get somebody who gets a super like Yoda one. Maybe we can think about doing an actual lightsaber. That maybe thing. I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
And I'm huge with Lord of the Rings, and seeing that it's this the 25th anniversary this year, I'm sure there are plenty of Lord of the Rings things out there right now.
Yeah, you'll have
First
everybody
time
walking
gone.
around the precious.
Yeah. Yeah, we need
Hmm.
Kirk to do that. I know he's there in the comments.
Also, if any of y'all have like a 3D printer and y'all want a little extra like personal project to do, you can loop this in and have that be one of the items that they get. All right. So Sean, I've got one question for you. So how can MSPs align incentives to meaningful outcomes like reduced escalations or increased automation coverage? We've addressed it sprinkled into this conversation today, but just directly, how?
So I would say MSP should align incentives effectively by rewarding outcome rather than activity. So
Hmm.
instead of incentivizing the number of scripts or automations created, they should focus on results, such as fewer escalations, high automation coverage, and improve resolution time. Using weighted and team-based incentives encourages collaboration, quality,
Hmm.
and sustainability. So when incentives are tied to visible business impact, gamification becomes a tool for driving operational maturity rather than just engagement.
Love it. Perfect. Direct. I like it. All right. Now, this is the wrapping up the incentive frameworks. Matt, question for you. What's one simple gamification framework an MSP could implement today without needing any additional tools or budget?
So
What
I'm
can we do
feeling
today
good.
coming from this?
I'm feeling good today, so I'm going to say there's going to be two. I'm going to give two, a little one plus a little added bonus that I cooked up. So I think first off, one that you can do is either do a 5 day or a 10 day quality plus adoption sprint, and kind of going off of what Sean was saying, you want this to be quality, you want it to be usage based and then repeatable, right? So use those three score categories: usage, quality, repeatability, and then take a peek at the results after that, see what you need to maybe change, adjust some of the context, some of the values in it, whatever it might be. So reason behind that, it's driven by the usefulness and the ease of use, right? So this sprint is going to push the real usage, but it keeps the rules simple. So I really like that one. The bonus here is you want to use visible progress and then small milestones, right? We've talked about it a little bit today. Leaderboards, public recognition, whether that's you could have a physical leaderboard, right on the office wall, or if you have an EOS system on Steady or 90 or whatever it might be, you can use that too. The psychology behind that is people want to work harder as they feel closer to the quote unquote finish line. So especially in a 5 or 10 day sprint, this will do well for you. So give it a try. Let me know. I'd be interested to hear the results.
Love it. Thank you. Okay, we have covered a lot about gamifying PIA, morale impact, service desk KPI impact, and what incentivizing could look like. So, there were a few questions that came in that we've already answered within our discussion. If y'all have any other questions on anything related to PIA, not necessarily gamification, please ask them in the Q&A section. I want to make sure that we can answer as many as possible. Let's see, one had come in that I had already answered. Is any idea of when the new adoption dashboard will be released? It depends on how badly we're able to break it right now. But we are aiming to start rolling it out to some partners by the end of the month. We also have Platform 20 coming out at the end of the month as well for some partners. So we're planning on starting to do that too. Almost all of y'all should have access to your automation hub as well. A lot of great new things coming from Pia recently.
I saw that there was 2 extra automations that have been added to the automation hub, so check it out.
Wonderful. Do you know what those are off the top of your head, Sean?
Not on the top of my head, no. I haven't played around yet. It's very recent, but the automation hub is growing.
We have a question here. Does Pia integrate with any tools such as BrightGauge to pull adoption data, or is there an API we can use for custom Power BI dashboards?
Yeah, the API section of PIA is coming soon. It will be with the next platform release. Not the next, yeah, platform release 20.
There you go. And then I know some people do have, some partners have created custom integrations. Um, as long as something, another tool has an open API, you can create a custom integration for it with Pia. Will you have time saved in the report? So that's a, I'm actually more curious as to what you're wanting out of that, Jason. Um, because time saved is relevant MSP to MSP. There is not one universal like amount of time for one specific thing. It does depend on who your team is. So I'm curious as to what you have. So when you do an onboarding, you used to say that it used to take 1 hour. Now it takes 5 minutes. That would be based off of your own reporting pre-PIA. So you want to measure your own metrics against your own metrics before and after. So I do have one partner. I use this all the time. Um, they were taking on average, this is information that they knew themselves because it was before us. It would take them an hour and 15 minutes on average for onboarding. And then post PIA, post utilizing smart forms, they've gotten that down to an average of 8 minutes. But that's information that they had beforehand. Now we have how long PIA is touching a ticket or how long PIA is in automation mode, and then also how long kind of PIA is waiting for an engineer to take action. We do have that. And we have that already. So this is a conversation that you can have with your PSM already. Other platform have it where you set for the automation the time it used to take, then you get a report every time it runs for save time. Okay, I'm taking that in.
I think that that's something that could be chucked into PIA ideas.
Hmm.
If it gets upvotes, it could definitely be put into the pipeline. So yeah, go to PIA ideas, chuck it in there.
Yeah, and we'll definitely be talking about that as we're breaking it. Yep, put that in and upvote it, y'all. Okay, we are running close to the end of the hour. Are there any other questions that y'all have? I'm gonna go ahead. I am gonna go ahead and send y'all a couple of links in the chat. So if y'all would like to see more of this content, like the certification content or maybe some cheat sheets, we have also created an automation cheat sheet for your team to utilize that actually Donald created based off of what they were wanting to see. Yeah.
Those are so handy to have. You sent me that Excel file. I sort of turned it into Canva thing because I like graphics. Um, but every one of my texts has that pinned up, so they can just quickly type, what they need to get to. So having that just handy is a big deal because they're like, well, I didn't know. Like, well, actually, yeah, here it is. We went over it, and you have it literally right there.
Wonderful. Yeah, yeah. If you want to receive some of that content, please email partner-success@pia.ai or email directly your partner success manager. The partner success that's just to will go to the broad team. I also put in there the ideas portal link, and then and if you do not have access, whenever you click that link, let us know. Go to partner support instead of partner success, and we'll get you set up. I put in two other links. We've officially segmented our office hours. You are on the MSP Insights Thought Leadership segment. So this is going to be first Thursdays of the month. We also have a series that goes on the third Thursdays of the month, and that's going to be for your admins. So the ones that are messing around with PIA themselves, it's going to be a deep dive. And we're going to so our next session is going to be on February 19th, and we're going to do a deep dive into smart forms. So it's going to be Sean and Matt again are going to be rejoining us in 2 weeks and going through that. So instead of having to sign up every single time, just sign up for the session for the recurring segment that you want to be a part of, and then you have them all in your calendar. All right. Some other cool things coming up. We have got the Pia Press. The Pia Press newsletter, the first edition is coming out this week. And then it's going to be recurring at the end of each month from here on out. So it's going to be a partner only newsletter that'll have as many resources as possible. So I'm trying to give y'all less emails in general and have everything consolidated into one newsletter. So if you don't receive that by Monday, please again let your partner success manager know. That way we make sure that you're receiving those. It's going to be full of our recent product updates that are going to be relevant for you. It'll have links to all of the other resources, and it'll be good to have for you to stay up to date on what we're doing. And so you can make the most of us and not miss anything. For events, we're currently in Houston for ConnectWise Evolve. We're also going to be CRN Australia After Hours event in Sydney, February 11th. ConnectWise Evolve in Brisbane, February 16th to 20th. Kaseya Local in Auckland, February 26th. And then for those of you that like United States college basketball, Matt is actually leading a March Madness group this
Whoop,
year.
whoop,
So
whoop.
if that's your jam, Matt's your man.
Nice.
Amazing.
Okay.
Sesame Street rhymes over here. Nice.
If you plan on to attend any of those, let us know. Reach out to us. And then also, if you haven't already, please join our Discord community. I'm also putting that chat in here. Okay, or that link in the chat. Wonderful. And then lastly, I know we're 3 minutes over. Thank you guys so much for staying with us. Keep an eye out for that short survey after this session. Please be candid. Please let us know what you want to hear next. All of this has come from your own suggestions, so please let us know. And thank you again for spending time with us today. We look forward to seeing you at an upcoming event in our Discord community and at our next office hours. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
And thank you, Donald, very, very
Thank you,
much.
Donald. Yeah.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.